What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football, sports betting, and NASCAR home here at fakepigskin.com. I am your host, Kyle Robert. You follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me once again, it's Brian Twining. What's up, Brian?
What's going on, Kyle? Man, last weekend was just an atrocious attempt by me to make picks, as I did not do very well, to say the least, and saw my Saints Super Bowl contender out of the NFC completely crap the bed at home.
Yeah, it was a great week for me. I had an amazing Saturday. The Sunday was okay. I think the Chiefs cover if Mahomes stays healthy. I think
Agreed.
the fact that he got hurt kind of killed that, and then the Saints no-showed, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the Bucs because I have questions. So obviously we have two games to get into. We're talking AFC, NFC Championships. Next week we'll be back starting our NASCAR preview. We're gonna do a season preview, and then we'll be back to obviously talk Super Bowl. Usually they have props and stuff up, so Brian and I will find props and coin toss and random stuff that we can bet on for the Super Bowl. So we'll be back with that. But without further ado, Brian, let's talk some NFL championship round picks against the spread. And we'll start with the first game. And that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to Green Bay as 3.5 point underdogs. We have a total here of 51.5. Brian, have we been like discounting the Bucs all season, or has it really broken nicely with them facing the duo of Taylor Heineke and Noodle Arm Drew Brees? Like I don't know what to make of Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I definitely overestimated how good New Orleans defense was, one, and two, their effectiveness on offense with Noodle Arm Drew Brees, like you said. It was pretty apparent last weekend that the absence of Taysom Hill, I thought I'd never be saying this, really was a gaping hole for that offensive scheme, as they had no short yardage plays dialed up that they could gain anything with. Drew Brees just couldn't get the ball down the field, and I really think that that's what was the ultimate demise of the Saints against Tampa Bay. And now they get to face a Packers team who they're probably feeling very confident against, as they absolutely freaking made them look like a train wreck all the way back in week 6. But I'm kind of with you in thinking that I think we're undervaluing what Green Bay has been doing more so than taking Tampa Bay for granted.
Does Jameis Winston win that game against Tampa Bay?
I think it's very possible that a guy that could stretch the field would have made that game completely different.
There's going to be some interesting situations next year. Like obviously with Breeze and Rivers retiring, we'll see what Big Ben's situation is, but it was interesting. We did talk though coming into the year that either things were going to work great for Tampa or they were going to be a train wreck. And clearly it was the great, and they look really good. This game is 3-3. Let me look at the odds. Is it gone to 3 across the board? Because for I see 3. Well, there's
so Bovada, 3. It's 3.5.
Yeah, Bovada, DraftKings, MGM, and one other book have it at 3.5. Some others have it at 3. So shop around to find the line you like. But yeah, I don't know what to do. Like Green Bay has been incredible, and this is the one spot where they could be, where they get revenge from as you mentioned, the shellacking they took in week 6. That being said, Tampa Bay's defense is good, and whether it's playoff Lenny or the return of Rojo, if they can run the ball, which is Green Bay's weakness and has been their issue the whole season, I think Tampa has a real shot here. They're going to have to slow down Devontae Adams and the passing game, and then be able to keep that. I think my worry is that if the Packers get up too early, can Tampa keep up? Obviously, they have the horses, but Antonio Brown has been here and there and everywhere. Obviously, the Mike Evans relationship has been interesting. Chris Godwin's been here and there, had the dropsies, kind of seem to be okay. Like, is it a scenario where Tampa wants to play great defense, wants to run the ball, that both those things travel really well? They're going to go into Lambeau and win? or do you think, we see more of what we've seen from the Packers? Because I've gone back and forth on this game.
So let me just hit you with this little nugget here. So in all of the Packers victories this year, where I think there's 15 of them, their lowest margin of victory is 4. Back when they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars by 4 points, which was that crushed my betting week that week. But their average margin of victory this season for the Packers is 14 points. Now, like I said, they're coming into a game where they're facing a team that killed them way back in week 6 with the defensive pressure that Tampa Bay was able to put on Green Bay early, seeing Aaron Rodgers throw 2 of his 5 interceptions in that one game. And very similarly to where, like last week, I thought that the Rams were going to be able to limit what the Packers did on offense. And for the most part, they did kind of limit their ability to move the ball. But Green Bay's offense right now is just churning on a different level in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. And as good as Tampa looked last week against the Saints offense is not Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams with Aaron Jones, with Jamal Williams, with A.J. Dillon, with all those guys that they've been doing right now. So as much as I want to see Tom Brady get to the Super Bowl just to go off with 2 middle fingers up in the air to all the haters, I really think that the spot here is the Packers, and I'm loving watching this line creep closer to 3.
So it's very interesting because in terms of the ATS bets, 59% of the bets are on the Packers, 58% of the money, yet it's trending towards Tampa, which I think is interesting. It obviously opened at 4. It's down to 3 in some spots. The total is also interesting. 77% of the bets are on the over at 51.5. But only 42% of the money, 23% of the bets, 58% of the money on that under. Does it feel like we're in a situation where if the Packers win, we probably hit the over, and if we like Tampa to keep that defense, like their secondary is really solid. Obviously, those linebackers can play really well, and if if they can slow down the passing game and they could run the ball effectively, this could be a lower scoring game. Like from a total perspective, like how do you envision this game going?
Well, I mean, you could take my opinion with a grain of salt, as I haven't been doing very well this year, this playoffs. But looking at the Packers games, they're one of the slowest teams in the NFL in terms of pace. And Tampa Bay, what we've seen with them over the last couple of weeks to protect Tom Brady is they want to kind of get the running game going a little bit more. They want to use Leonard Fournette and Rojo. So I think that this game will probably be a slower paced kind of matchup. And I think it'll be close throughout the game, but it'll ultimately be like the big plays from Rodgers to Adams to Martez Valdez-Scantling that I think Green Bay winds up winning this like somewhere in the range of like 24 or 27 to about 20 or so.
Okay, so slightly under. So I think under is the play. Like in this game, I think it'll be ever so slightly. And as obviously last week, I told you I liked the over that came through. Had a really good feeling about that game. This game I do not. So I think under is the play here. I'm still debating from a side. I think if I had to bet it, I would just take the Tampa Bay money line. They feel like a team that's like I like what their running game is doing, and I know whether it's Fournette or Ronald Jones, I don't love Fournette, but if he's going to play well against a team that has issues stopping the run, it's hard for me to envision the Bucs losing here.
I'll just say I want Tampa Bay to win, but I just feel like I've faded the Packers too many times this year, and they continue to bite me in the ass. So yeah. That's why I'm on the side of Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, they've been incredible. They've been incredible against the spread. As you mentioned, the one blip was really that Tampa Bay game. So can they do it again? We'll have to see. Let's flip it over. Let's talk the AFC side. And let's talk a very interesting game. I was really I don't know if confused is the right word, but it was interesting to see this line open at 3 and it's kind of sat at 3. I'm not sure. Like obviously the Chiefs have had issues covering the spread all year. I think they're 0-8-1 in their last 9. Like I said, I thought they were ready to go to cover town last week had Mahomes not got injured. The tackle was weird. I don't know. Like
I still don't understand how he got a concussion. His head never made contact with anything.
So I here's where I'm thinking. I think he was like choked and like lost consciousness that way because the defender kind of went around his neck and pulled him down that way. Like you mentioned, I never really saw his head bounce off of anything. I saw a situation like I thought maybe when the defender went to tackle him, his elbow hit him in the head. That was caused the blunt force and that caused, but it didn't. When on the replays, it didn't look like that. Like his face hit the ground, and maybe it's because it was in slow motion. It's hard to tell how effective it was. But yeah, he clearly was. There was something wrong. He was out for a little bit, and he was back.
The biggest worry for me is the residual effects of this, especially if the concussion like kind of started on an earlier play where he kind of got his bell rung, a few plays earlier or something. And then just the way he was taken down and the fast, like jerking motion of his head or his neck area, which is what caused the concussion. And, you've seen it the first 2 days of practice that he's been practicing on a limited basis. It's all expectations are that he's going to, they're assuming he's going to play, but he has yet to clear the concussion protocol. So for me, going back to the betting side of this game, the line is currently set, I think, as if Mahomes is playing. So if you're a Bills backer right now, like I'd be jumping on the money line because if it gets ruled that Patrick Mahomes is not playing, this creeps even closer to a pick 'em because no offense to my boy Chad Henne, go blue, baby.
How excited would you be for a Tom Brady versus Chad Henne Super Bowl?
Oh, I would already celebrate a championship. I mean, it would just be another Michigan quarterback winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah, finally winning a championship with a decent Michigan quarterback. It's weird. Yeah, I think like, and this is like a little, we'll give a preview of my best bet, which is going to be coming up here. But I think of everything and we can bet on this weekend, obviously in terms of sides and totals, the Bills might be my favorite bet. I don't understand the 3. And 54% of the bet, 61% of the money on the Bills +3. This feels like had the Chiefs won and covered, this is a 4.5 or 5 point spread. And
which to me is astronomical. It's ridiculous.
And I feel like this line says bet the Chiefs, but then at the same time, more of the public money is on the Bills. And the Chiefs have had issues covering for the public all season long. Like, does that just keep going? Like, the Bills defense has some pieces that are really interesting, but they've also been susceptible to, teams moving the ball between the 20s and then kind of figuring it out at the back end. I think Josh Allen, I think he is on a collision course with that Super Bowl. And, I'm actually pull up DraftKings lines to look at the Super Bowl odds right now. But like, I kind of feel like just betting the Bills to win the Super Bowl or betting the Bills money line here and then against Tampa or Green Bay, because I feel like they'll be underdogs there, rolling that money over. Because I feel like the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. That's where my head's at.
Let me just say, I haven't gotten much right during these playoffs, but the one thing that I am currently still riding was I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl before the playoffs started. So
there's no way they're winning then.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that, but when you look at them, they're riding an 8-game winning streak. And this matchup too, when you look at it on paper, is pretty even. They're both top 10 in turnover differential. They're top 6 in points per game. They're top 3 in pass yards per game. They're both middle of the road when it comes to defense and pass and rushing efficiency on defense. Josh Allen is playing at an MVP level right now. He has one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Stephon Diggs absolutely balling out with those other pieces that he was able to integrate with Gabriel Davis, Cole Beasley, John Brown coming back. The one thing that worries me about the Bills going into this game is their lack of running game, which you've seen is the ability to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. And this is assuming Patrick Mahomes plays, is paramount when trying to beat a team like Kansas City with how good their offense can be. But I do think that their short passing game mixed in with their big shot plays is what is going to put the Bills over the top here. And that's why I love the Bills to win this game, regardless of who's playing quarterback for the Chiefs.
So the Bucs are plus 450 right now. They have the worst odds to win the Super Bowl. I think that's interesting. Bills are plus 350. Packers are plus 210. Chiefs are plus 200. I would say if you like Tampa Bay as your favorite out of those, I would bet the money line against the Packers and then roll that over and bet that against the Chiefs or Bills.
Yeah.
I think because I'm doing some like I'm on a parlay calculator right now, and they're plus 160 right now. And then I'd say 150 is probably the if they play the Chiefs, if they play the Bills, maybe it's closer to a pick 'em. I think you can get odds on like let's see here. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean it seems like Tampa Bay is putting stuff together right now because their defense has been playing a lot better. You haven't seen the same holes that we saw in the middle of the season either.
Yeah, Buccaneers to beat the Bills right now is 9-1. I kind of like that. I feel like there's some decent value on that. Although, I guess you could always do a Bills and Bucks parlay, and get plus basically what. Let me see. It would be that 5-1 number, and then you roll that over and bet it on whatever. But yeah, I kind of like that. So what about the total? Feels aggressive, right?
It does feel aggressive, especially, I mean, I liked the over in Baltimore and Buffalo to see only 20 points. So, but I mean, if Patrick Mahomes is playing, again, this line is set assuming Mahomes is playing. I mean, you're looking at two of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL and two of the offenses that are top offenses in the NFL as well, going up against middle of the road defenses. I
will say 39% of the bets and 56% of the money is on the over. It obviously opened at 50. It's up to 53.5, 54, depending on where you look at it.
That's a big move.
But I think there's a potential that it's moved too far and you can actually get some value on it on the under now. But I mean, obviously both these teams can put up 40 points in, easy, but they also have the ability and have shown, whether struggling at times or just, slowing it down, not moving as fast, but under parades and both the AFC the divisional round games might lead people to think that way. I'm not sure, but it is interesting to see kind of where the money's coming in for both the totals and the sides. So Brian, what is your best bet for the championship round?
I mean, I'm probably stealing yours, but I'm going the Bills money line. I like them at the beginning of the playoffs to win the Super Bowl, so I'm going to ride the train here with Buffalo. Way to go, Buffalo. I'm circling the wagons here on the road in Kansas City. Josh Allen taking his team to the bowl.
Sorry, Josh Allen. Sorry, Buffalo. Me and Brian are cursing you because Bills +3 is also my best bet.
No.
It's either going to go amazing or terrible. I haven't decided, but we'll see. What else is on your betting card this week?
All right, so I'm gonna have my first one is gonna be in the college basketball ranks. We're recording this on Thursday night, so I'm jumping ahead to Friday here for the only top 25 game, or the only game involving a top 25 team, and that is my Michigan Wolverines traveling to Purdue to play the Boilermakers, and the total is currently set at 138. And you're looking at two teams that are both averaging over 70 points a game. Michigan's averaging over 80. They've hit 80 in 9 of their 11 games this season, or 10 of their 12 games. I like this game to be an absolute shootout with both of these teams looking to kind of get their offenses more set here. So that's my first one is Michigan Purdue. I like over 138.
Also look at that Michigan team total, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, no. If it's set at anything under 80, you hammer the over with how consistent they've been there. So and then I have a couple prop plays here before I give my game bets. So I like Aaron Rodgers over 2.5 passing touchdowns. The fact that it's still set at that to me is kind of crazy, considering he has 3 or more passing touchdowns in 12 of the 17 games that he's played this season. And you're looking at a guy who has like almost a 50-5 touchdown to interception ratio. I like Devontae Adams to go over 7.5 receptions. He has 7 or more receptions in 11 of 15 games played and 8+ in 7 games this season. And now he's coming into their biggest matchup of the season against the team that he had 6 for 61 back in week 6. I think Aaron Rodgers leans on Adams this week, and he puts up another ridiculously good game. I like Josh. And then going to the AFC Championship game, my other prop play that I really like is Josh Allen rush yards over 33.5. Way back in week 6, Allen rushed for over 40 yards against his same team. In the wild card round against Indianapolis, which was also a very tightly contested game, Josh Allen ran the ball 11 times for 54 yards. So we're looking at a guy who, as of right now, with the absence of Zach Moss, is probably the team's best short yardage and kind of bulldozing option back there out of the backfield. And if they have any hope of winning this game and living up to my best bet and getting to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to ride the legs, not just the arm of Josh Allen. So I really like him over 33.5 rushing yards. And then obviously I'm taking the Bills money line. I'm not even messing around with the points here. And I'm taking the Packers -3.5.
I like it. I like where your head's at. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Josh Allen on DK Sportsbook is 33.5. I'm looking up anytime touchdowns, or let's see, just Josh Allen to score 2 touchdowns is 7.5 to 1. I kind of like that. Obviously, he'd have to rush both of them, but
he is the only short yardage option for this team right now.
Let's see here. I'm looking up. So Josh Allen is +325 to score a touchdown and for the Bills to win. I don't hate that. With that being said, if I find other ones that trickle out, I will definitely let you know. With that being said, I am taking the Bucs money line. I am taking the under. I am taking Chris Godwin over 63.5 receiving yards and Leonard Fournette over 42.5 receiving yards. And as I already mentioned, my best bet is the Bills money line, and I will be looking at the Bills and Bucks money line parlay. I don't know what, like, I haven't been on the Bucks all year, but like, it feels like Brady's just got something going, and that team is clicking at the right time. And it was, I remember talking about them earlier in the year about how a lot of teams are finding their best football at certain times, and it really didn't seem like the Bucs had done that. Oh. And they'd played a crappy schedule. We kind of questioned it down the stretch, and they've just looked awesome throughout the playoffs. Like, it feels like they're trending that way. Rodgers and company have been great, but I think the Packers got this week. So Bucks Bills Super Bowl with Josh Allen hoisting the Lombardi Trophy come season's end.
Can you even try to imagine us saying this even last year after watching the way Josh Allen's like progression was throughout his career? I mean,
it's amazing. And they get to keep Brian Daboll, which is even better. Like, it's a weird thing because some of these coaches that seem like slam dunk head coaches somewhere, because their team is having so much success, they kind of miss out on the window. The only team that's open is Houston right now, and Daboll and Bieniemy kind of both seem like they're going to stay in place for at least another season.
I feel like that's kind of the smart move, and kind of wait for a situation that's not as toxic as that one right now. I mean, they're on the cusp of losing their franchise with Deshaun Watson wanting out. So I would want no part of that position either.
Okay. That was our preview. We'll be back, as I said, next week to talk NASCAR. The following week we'll be back for our Super Bowl preview. In the comments, let us know who is going to be playing in the Super Bowl. I want to know what 2 teams are playing and who is going to win. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say. For Brian Twining, I'm Kyle Robert. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to y'all next week.